Hey, so I wanted to just have a conversation quickly. So, this is what happens when you marry outside of your league. Hear me out. So, when I talk about outside of your league, I'm talking about emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, financially. Basically, when you're on two separate pages, you and your spouse, you have two separate agendas. So, this message is for those that are married. And this message is for those that desire to get married, are in the stages of, dating and courtship and engagement and things of that nature. So outside of your league, so you're on two separate pages. You have two separate agendas. You have two separate goals. You're reaching for two completely different things in life. When you make that decision, here's what you must have in mind is that there will always be some sort of struggle when it comes to decisions, when it comes to choices, when it comes to desires, when it comes to achievement, and things of that nature. Someone will always find themselves to in a place where they're compromising or making extreme sacrifices, and that part can cease if the person just simply decide to accept things the way that they are. But most times, that doesn't happen, of course, right away, and it may take a long time to occur if it happens at all, because there may constantly be a discontentment or even resentment and feeling like, you should have said something sooner or made a different decision or whatever, right? So this video is not for you to sit and regret or to feel guilty or any of those things, but I do want to bring a perspective. I do want to bring a perspective of understanding what are the recourses, if you would, what is the aftermath, what is the result when you make that type of decision. And argumentatively, yes, we do make sacrifices and compromises in our marriage relationship, in our friendships, and all our relationships. That's a given. But it's one thing to make sacrifices and compromises that are reasonable and realistic, and then there's another thing of always having to make a sacrifice and compromise because of somebody else's deficiency, because of someone else's neglect of bettering themselves, because of someone else's neglect of evolving and transforming and being inspired to do something different, to be something different, and to show up something different. To me, that is unfair and unreasonable. If you are the only one that is constantly trying to make a difference within your life and within the marriage relationship, it's unfair that the other person is failing to do that. That in itself then gets then can introduce or be done on the basis of manipulation by way of the other person, because they feel that they don't have to change, they don't have to evolve, because you're going to keep you know you're going to keep carrying the weight of the marriage. And I'm not talking about any weight in specific. This is not financial weight. You're working, they're not working. That's not what I'm talking about in particular, but it can be. So, the best thing that you can do if you're in this place is, I'm always an advocate of having this conversation with your spouse. And I understand that you can only have these type of conversations with spouses that are reasonable, and spouses that are considerate, and spouses that are willing to take ownership for what they're not bringing to the table, whether that's their emotional health, their physical health, financial health, spiritual health, whatever that is. They're willing to take that responsibility, and they're willing to do something different, and they're willing to get the help that they need, because they see that their actions over the course of the marriage has contributed to the marriage not being at the best place, and has contributed to the marriage not thriving and growing and evolving. So when you're in those different places, it is easy to become frustrated. It's easy to become overwhelmed. It's easy for resentment to happen over a course of time, and then turn to bitterness and unfortunate hatred and all these other negative emotions that you can experience if things do not change. So you can decide to either, accept things the way that they are, and knowing that your spouse is only going to bring what they've been bringing and nothing more. Or B, you can have that conversation, and hopefully some things will change and evolve in the marriage relationship and your spouse as well. Or C, You can continue doing you. You can continue growing and evolving and going through the motions, but not allowing it to ultimately take you out or deviate from what you've been called to do in the marriage relationship. None of these reasons per se are reasons to leave the marriage or to get divorced and all of that stuff. People feel that is greener on the other side and things of that nature. And whether that's true or not, I'm not going to go into that. But a lot of things that you may be experiencing in the marriage is based on someone else's personality, based on someone else's characteristics, based on someone else's morals and values, right? So you can't fight against someone else's belief system. And I'm not talking about a certain religion here, but it can be. You cannot fight against someone's belief systems. You can't fight against their morals. You can't fight against their values. If they don't believe that, working and helping out in the household, if that's not a value for them, that's not what they're going to do. If they don't believe that they have to play their role and do their part, whatever that may look like, that's not a value for them. You can't fight against that. If they don't know that supporting their spouse is an important feature and added and a benefit in the marriage relationship, and that it will help the marriage to grow and thrive, you cannot fight against that. And too often individuals are fighting against someone's core belief system and someone's core values, and constantly being frustrated and overwhelmed and feeling overworked and overloaded because things are not changing. If you are in that circumstance, of course, God is your helper. He is your sustainer. He is your strength. He is your defender. So by all means, lean and depend on him. Lean into him. Find a community of people that will help to support you, to safeguard you. Create boundaries in your marriage relationship of things that, are just off limits, things that, have to change, things that you will not accept in the marriage relationship, especially if it's constantly depleting you. If it's constantly depleting you, at some point, individuals have to look within themselves. And until they do that and see, what am I bringing to the overall table? And I'm not talking just in finances, because when we talk about bringing things to the table, it's always about money. More than that, how am I serving my spouse? How am I giving to my spouse? How am I making their life a little easier, their load a little lighter, right? So these are things that a marriage consists of. And in a perfect world, this is what we would see. However, we live in an imperfect world. We have imperfect systems. We're imperfect people. Most of us trying to do our best, for our own lives and for those that are around us, but you have a minority of people that aren't. So whatever place you find yourself at, it is my prayer that you understand your situation, that you can hopefully accept it, whatever it is, and that you can still find some joy and peace in the middle of it. So I just wanted to bring that to you really quickly. That was just on my heart as I was getting ready for the gym, as you can see. And I wanted to just share that with you. So I pray that it has blessed you. If you don't know, we are praying every morning for now, Monday through Friday at 5 a.m. on YouTube. So if you're not connected to my YouTube channel, definitely go there and check it out, Trell Ravenel. Wife chat sessions are every other Monday at noon. So this Monday, we will have wife chat at noon, and everything is on YouTube. So if this video has blessed you, definitely share it, listen to it again, take down some notes, and get to work.